Hi, I'm Sam Constantine, and this is a parody of Crash Course World History. Today we're going to be talking about Mesopotamian mathematics. Mr. Constantine, isn't that like basic arithmetic? I'm really good at basic arithmetic. Also, I thought this was a history class. Oh, me from the past. It's a lot harder when you're inventing it. Alright, so before we begin, I'm going to give you guys some quick background information on early Mesopotamian civilization. Also, Mr. Constantine, since this is just a parody, does that mean that I still have to take notes? Me from the past, you take terrible notes, but other YouTubers have made videos that give better, in-depth information on the topic. We're just going to give a quick overview here. So, irrigation began in southern Mesopotamia around 6000 BCE, followed by larger cities in 5000 BCE, which had palaces and temples by 4000 BCE. These temples were the centers of government for these small cities and controlled land distribution and international trade. The head priests of these temples became powerful, resulting in power struggles among different cities, especially to control the important religious cities of the north. Control over the north also meant control of the Semitic people living north of the Sumerians. In 2334, a Semitic official named Sargon decided, hey, I'm already in the north. So he used the support of the Semitic people to spread his power and form the world's first empire by placing his own officials in local governments and declaring his own language, Akkadian, the official language. Sumerian was still used for religious purposes. The empire was eventually conquered after Sargon's grandson died. The conquerors, the previously nomadic Gudi people, exerted little control over all the cities. This allowed local rulers to gain power, and one of them, named Ur-Nammu, gained power in 2120 BCE. Under Ur-Nammu's empire, there was peace, agricultural expansion, and building projects. His son established a law code, common measurements, and taxes. Although after his son's death, eastern cities started to secede, and the nomadic Amorites and Elamites conquered enough of the remaining cities to dissolve the empire. Many civilizations fall because of invasive nomads, unless of course you are, wait for it, the Mongols. After 2 centuries of kings duking it out for supremacy, a new ruler from the little town of Babylon gained power all over Mesopotamia. His name was Hammurabi. Hammurabi ruled from 1792 to 1749 BCE and tried to centralize the Mesopotamian government. You may have heard of Hammurabi's code of law. He also improved the country's infrastructure, irrigation systems, and temples. He also granted farming land to local rulers, possibly to secure their favor, but the new, powerful local governments meant that Hammurabi's son could not stop them from revolting after Hammurabi's death. We'll get back to the history of Mesopotamian government later, but now we're going to talk about the really good stuff, math. Sorry to our non-existent British following, it's not called maths. Oh, and by the way, the Sumerians began using the wheel in 3200 BCE. That didn't really fit into the intro, just keep it in mind. Most hunter-gatherer communities had words for only one, two, or many, but after they developed writing, they began using concrete objects to represent specific numbers, such as a small cone for 1, clay balls for 10, and large clay cones for 60. During the 3rd millennium BCE, they replaced these with cuneiform symbols. Sumerian mathematical notation was based on a sexy decimal place system. Wait, it's not called sexy decimal? It's called sexagesimal? Dang it, Mark! Why are you always ruining history? Now, to explain what that means, let's go to the thought, Devin. We use the decimal place system. The word decimal is based on the number 10. We have 9 digits, and when we want to express the number 10, we simply write in the next place to show how many sets of 10 we've acquired. And we keep counting from there until we acquire another set of 10. That's why it's called a place system. 20 is like 2 sets of 10, and 30 is 3 sets, and so on. The Sumerians had 60 digits, so they would write all the way up to 59 before writing in the next place. Now, they didn't have to memorize 59 symbols. They only had 2. One symbol for showing how many individual numbers they were counting, and another to show how many sets of 10 they had already counted. Written in Sumerian numerals, our numbers would look like this. Thanks, thought Riley. Now, the Babylonians also used a symbol that neither the Greeks, Egyptians, nor Romans ever used, and that is 0. It seems more that their 0 was used more as a placeholder as opposed to a quantity of nothingness. Too many globes. By 2300 BCE, the Sumerians had developed a complex system of metrology, the science of measuring. They had more than 20 units for length, weight, area, volume, and time. We only have 3 basic SI units for weight, length, and time. Wait, what? Everything went better than expected. In Sumer, archaeologists have discovered multiplication and reciprocal tables, tables of squares, square roots, and cube roots, geometrical exercises, and division problems from 2500 BCE. Now, for everyone keeping track at home, that means that humanity as a whole has been doing math homework for 4,500 years, and that, my friends, is a long-ass time. Their multiplication problems in modern math would have looked something like this. And beginning around 1800 BCE, the Babylonians had tablets containing cubic equations and the calculation of reciprocal pairs. We also have evidence that around 1800 BCE, the Babylonians were using something that looks very similar to the Pythagorean theorem. And that's 12,030 years before Pythagoras was even born. There's even a Babylonian tablet that estimates the value of the square root of 2 all the way back to 5 decimal places, as seen right here. They even estimated the value of pi to be 3.125, which is pretty close to the actual value of 3.141592653589793238462643383. Oh, it's time for the mystery document? Elegant. The rules here are simple. I read the mystery document out loud, I try and guess at the author, I get the author wrong, and then I shock myself. This is the Code of Hammurabi. That is too easy. But I suppose I'll still read it. If a herdsman to whose care cattle or sheep have been entrusted be guilty of fraud and make false returns of the natural increase, or sell them for money, then shall he be convicted and pay the owner 10 times the loss. Do I still get shocked?
Yes.
Yeah! This quote illustrates something very important for us. That math was and still is a very important part of everyday life and was invented so that people could get along better with each other. You know that wheel I mentioned at the end of the Mesopotamian history section? Well, the Sumerians began using the wheel in 3200 BCE, and they were using the sexagesimal system in 3000 BCE. James Hopwood Jeans, in his book The Growth of Physical Science, proposed that Babylonian astronomers calculated the degrees of the circle by dividing it using equilateral triangles and the sexagesimal number system. Doesn't it make sense that the Sumerians would want to mathematically understand the wheel and use it to the best of their abilities? Also, during the 3rd millennium BCE, the priests were beginning to seize power, culminating in the Empire of Sargon. It would be much easier to move around large spaces of land to conquer cities if they had wheels. So just by trying to figure out why the Sumerians would have developed the sexagesimal system can give us the ability to make some educated guesses about their past and their future. We've gone through enough history and mathematical progress to hopefully provide some food for thought, and that's up to you. Thanks for watching. We don't have a next week. Crash Course Parody is produced and directed by Mark Young. Our script supervisor is Riley Garner. The show is written by my high school classmates Mark Young, Riley Garner, and myself. Our graphics team is Thought Devin. We've never had a phrase of the week. You can leave questions in the comments and we will maybe answer them. Yeah, thanks for watching, and as they say in John Green's hometown, don't forget to be awesome.